Perfect. Hi everyone. So welcome to the introduction of paid media. My name is Freya, but I'm going to tell you more about my story later on. What I'd love to do now is take you through what paid media is and what skill sets you can bring to this industry. So first, let's just have a quick look at what paid media really means. And this is an effort that involves a paid placement to boost your content or allow your content to be found by your target audience. So you can do this on Google ads, TikTok ads, and Instagram ads. We'll go through the strategy later on, but I just wanted you to get an understanding of what paid media is before we deep dive into how it works. So if we pop into the placements and where you would find this, we have over 200 placements within the paid media industry. And how this started, which is actually really cool, is websites held real estate like billboards and they sold it to publishers like Google Ads, Facebook, and Microsoft, for example, so they could have ads appearing on their placement. And this is how it started. Now, paid media works with a stimulus that makes someone search or makes someone look for content. But let's go through into a demonstration of what this looks like. So paid media, typically, if we look at this from a paid search point of view, will be at the top of your Google search. The reason why is the publisher will get a small caption of that revenue, that advertising budget, to be able to place you there. And this works on an auction-based option. So if you have enough budget and you have an organised auction system, you will hear higher. Now I know that that was a lot of words, but now what we're going to do is just have a look at some advertising that maybe hasn't worked. But before we do that, what I would love to do is just take you through my journey and how 15 years ago I entered into this space. So I left school in a creative ecosystem. I was very good at art and drama, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do anything further than that. So I joined a temping agency, and at that point I was studying psychology. And in this agency, they were doing Ask Jeeves, which is a really old search engine. And they essentially kind of took me through how understanding people's problems and understanding my audience's pain points, I could deliver advertising that could answer that person's wants and needs. So I connected the dots between creative writing, creative visuals, as well as then how I could then build an ecosystem that developed trust. And since then, I've had the opportunity to work in Dubai, Saudi, as well as the US. And the way that I got into Dubai was to build the Google offices in 2010, which is one of my achievements that I have there. And I also have the fact that I was invited to Brighton SEO to give a speech to 1,000 people, which was pretty cool. But the reason why I love my job is because it's essentially a lifestyle choice. So I now get to understand what makes people tick, which then I can create advertisements that make them click. So let's go through how advertising works with that idea and that idea set. So this is an advertisement. I won't play it, but I'm sure a lot of you that are watching this have probably seen this advertisement. Now, the reason why this advertisement is so well known is because the advertiser has chosen a brand strategy to ensure that this ad is seen by as many as people, or is seen by as many people as possible. And they have a broad age demographic. So within each publisher, you can target either by age, behaviour, demographical data, or by what they're interested in. So if you look at these advertisements, always try and figure out what that pain point would be and why you were shown this advertisement and what this advertisement might mean to you right now or in the future. But let's go through the funnel process that we have. Okay, so we'll go through the funnel process. So within the functions of marketing, we have different areas which you can grow into. So many of you watching this might be creative learners, or you might be statistical learners. This demographic, or this flow that we have here, is a sales cycle. So in your ecosystem that you go through, you have different stages in where people sit in terms of their knowledge sets. So when you first learn algebra, you learn the reason or the clues on what you're trying to solve and how that works. And your teacher would have taken you through each element. So when you got lower down the funnel, you could then find A or find B because you understood the formula. So this essentially is this stage here, and this is what we do at Reflect, is we look at the hybrid approach on how we can allow people to find more about our brands and take them through that journey so they make a sale. So in this kind of demo that I put together here, if we looked at our target audience, they essentially were looking to solve their dry hair issues. We would have then created ads and assets that would have answered their problems and solutions, which would encourage them to read our blog, to find out more about us. Now, in paid media, we can do that by paid ads or paid influencer marketing. So we can ask ambassadors to upsell our product to us. And I'm sure many of you have seen that on TikTok and Instagram, but that is all the stepping stones that people take to then find out more about what we do and why we do it. And this all then has that relationship factor. So this is all connected in our space. Every TV advertisement that you would have seen, or radio advertisement, all triggers an action and approach. And our job as marketeers is to connect those dots together. We have paid targeting methods, and our first approach is keywords. And this is really used within the paid search channel and advertising approach. But what we will do is we will pick keywords we would predict our audience would type into Google, and we would then be involved in an auction to then have the highest bid, which will allow us to have clicks and traffic through to our website. Demographics and interest behavioural targeting. So this really works on our paid social strategies. So every demographical data that you have on your Instagram profile or your TikTok profile, for example, in terms of age, demographic, age, location, as well as pages and accounts that you are interested in, we can use to market to you particular products, problem-solving options, as well as other areas here. And our last section before we close is we have user behaviour targeting, which is really sophisticated in its approach, which is if you've ever been on ASOS, for example, and you've been looking at a clothing item, but you haven't yet purchased that item, what this user behaviour aspect allows us to do is to remarket that clothing item to you when you're on YouTube or you're on Instagram to encourage you to purchase. So we do this type of advertising based on your intent and what you do within the website, which will then suggest what we do in terms of marketing. Contextual is all about the content that's on that website. So you might be on OK, or you might be on BBC, for example, and whatever that content is about, you might see relevant ads about that topic or theme, which will then suggest you to click on that ad component. And we have our last one, which is predictive, which is a sophisticated marketing method which works predominantly on WhatsApp, for example. And what this will do is, let's say, for instance, I'm having a chat with my friend about a birthday party. It will use that stimuli words and that user behaviour content to then deliver us advertisements that we might see later on. So this is how paid media works, and that's that fundamental. So At the beginning, I said that I would take you through what paid media is, how I got into this industry, and then how you could use these skill sets to essentially craft your own career, which I have been able to do. And what you can do is look at your strengths. So if you do have a creative strength, for example, you might want to look at paid social or a programmatic avenue, because you can use visuals and colours and use the psychology behind that to boost your paid media outlay. And if you're more statistical, for example, you can test different variations of ad creatives and websites to see how that works best with your target audience. But my one rule that I would say, if you could take away from this session, is understand the pain points or the problems of your target audience and try and pick the media or the channel that answers that person's problem the best and the easiest. And once you have that nailed, any paid media that you do from that point is a winning strategy. You can come and find me after this session and I can answer any of your questions.